I want to tell you about max contracts in the NBA and how those suckers work, because we are in peak free agency season. The free agency market officially opens up 6 p.m. June 30th. That's Sunday. So Monday morning show is going to be awesome. That's a tease, Kevin. Look, the supermax means that in the 2016 collective bargaining agreement, the Players Association and the NBA came together with what they thought would be a solution to keeping drafted talent in the city where they were drafted. So it means the Players Union basically calls it a designated veteran contract extension. We call it the supermax. It's been in existence for a couple years now. 3 years now. This was an option that was added so that your front office could reward its superstar earlier in his career while helping the team avoid what happened to Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant, what happened with the Trailblazers with LaMarcus Aldridge, what has happened with Anthony Davis and New Orleans. We're going to dig into that in a bit. But to date, there have been 4 players who have actually signed the supermax extension. And Steph Curry is one, James Harden is another, Russ Westbrook is another, and John Wall is the last. So we can say that Steph Curry's contract, James Harden's contract, those are working. Those, you're absolutely on board for paying those dudes the supermax. We're just talking about their ability to play ball. We're not talking about how much they get paid. When we start talking about how much a player gets paid, we know that they're not living up to their contract. We're not exceeding the value of their contract. But we talk about John Wall, you're talking about what has become the worst contract in the NBA because he blew out his Achilles just walking around his house. So when you want to flex on an all-NBA guard, just, walk around your living room hitting double biceps thinking about John Wall. Now, Russ's contract, well, we'll get to that. So in the latest run of Supermax eligible players, we got Anthony Davis, Dame Lillard, and Kemba Walker. Rudy Gobert and Giannis are going to be Supermax eligible next year. Now, that's why you're going to see Utah and Milwaukee go after it all in this upcoming season because they are in win-now mode. Mark it down. You're going to see Utah and Milwaukee go into whatever bank they have to go into to go get players they think can help them win an NBA championship this season because of how those contracts are drawn up and because those two dudes are going to be Supermax eligible. But to qualify for the Supermax, a player has to be with his team the team that he was on when he ended his rookie contract and entering his 8th, 9th, or 10th year in the NBA. He also needs to have proved he's one of the best players in the league in one of 3 very specific ways. Winning the MVP in one of the 3 most recent seasons. Winning the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, in the most recent season or in the prior 2 seasons. And being named an All-NBA player in the most recent season or in the prior 2 seasons. This is why the All-NBA third team comes called into question because now you got guards that don't seem like the kind of guys you should be paying Supermax money to who are eligible for the Supermax and are probably going to get it. Well, we're going to get to that in just a second. So Bradley Beal is an example of what we're getting to, right? He's one of these guards that is going to be eligible for a max contract, Supermax contract, because he's that good. So the problem with the Supermax is that it means that that player needs to be willing to re-sign with the team he ended his rookie deal with. So, LeBron, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant show they're always going to be looking outside of that team, right? To us, the difference between making $191 million over 5 years on a Supermax or getting traded and signing for a 4-year deal worth $157 million, that's gargantuan, right? That's gargantuan. Now, for us, $1 million is gargantuan. To you and me, that's life-changing money. But Bradley Beal, who I just pointed to, said, hey, look, money ain't everything, dog. It ain't the problem. Because when you have enough of it, you have enough of it. And because it ain't always the problem, particularly with folks like myself, millennials, We're always going to look at our work environment and say, do I feel valued here? Do I feel like my best interest is put up front every day? Because it doesn't matter how much money I'm making if I am unhappy at work, if I don't think that I'm in a good place to be. Now, for many employers, they'll be like, cool, I cut you, whatever. Now you can go be happy somewhere else. But when you are the franchise and you are unhappy, that means you are affecting everybody else's bottom line. So they either want to make you happy, show you that they're going to change their ways, or do what they do in the NBA, which is move you. So in these moments, when teams know that their superstar is unhappy, let's take Anthony Davis as an example because he's prescient. He was eligible to sign a 5-year extension worth $235.5 million. And he left because he was unhappy. But you shouldn't weep for the teams because in these moments, we're seeing that they're willing to part with dudes like Davis because there is no changing their minds. And teams can get value for them while they're still on the contract. So Jimmy Butler was eligible for the supermax in Chicago. But they turned him into Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, and Chris Dunn. Boogie Cousins was eligible for the supermax in Sacramento, and he didn't like it. So they turned him into Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, and Buddy Hield. And of course, Anthony Davis was unhappy, and they turned him into Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, this year's number 4 overall pick, a top 8 protected pick in 2021, the right to swap first-round picks with the Lakers in 2023, and an unprotected 24 and a first-round pick that New Orleans can defer until 2025. They traded a generational talent for a generation of talent. And yeah, you'd be like, man, David Griffin, that's like you took Rob Pelinka over that barrel and started smacking him, man. But look, we've seen this before because you know what else is quite a haul? James Harden, Daquan Cook, Lazar Hayward, and Cole Aldridge for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, a 2013 protected first round, a 2013 protected first round, and a 2013 second round. One of those picks turned out to be Steven Adams, and he's on the trade block right now as we speak. This is the kind of calculus your general manager is getting paid to make. And that's as it should be because players play the game. We just show up to watch it, which is why I continue to tell you that most of your general manager, your favorite general manager, is just a dude. He is a dude using other people's money to make what he thinks is his best guess while also trying to keep his job and keep his kid in Jordans and private schools. Okay? The fallacy, the fraud here is that they believe that you believe in them to get them a championship. Everybody wants to win a championship. Everybody wants to look good at their job. But for some of us, it is what we are here on earth to see. The reason that Lincoln Riley is always going to be widely followed at the University of Oklahoma is because there is a group of people who call themselves Sooner fans who are living and dying with every game waiting on pins and needles for the next national championship. You saw this in Boston years ago. The way that we talked about Cleveland, we were talking about Boston. And then the Red Sox got good. And the Red Sox stayed good. And then the Patriots got good. And the Patriots stayed good. And then the Celtics won a title. And then the Bruins became unbeatable. And all of a sudden, we hate Boston. Why? Because they're doing what we want to do. And their general managers are lords among men because they have got you what you wanted, which was a championship. I'm not certain that every general manager is thinking about you needing a championship today. Some of these moves, I'm not so certain. I think that at one point or another, your GM looked at himself and he looked at his franchise. And he said, you know what? I want to keep my job. And I think the best way to keep my job is to go get these picks. Is to trade away, or the best way to keep my job is to go get Anthony Davis and trade away the Lakers' future. Because, you know, I'm Rob Pelinka. I can go back to being an agent anytime I want. The coolest thing I think the Scared Money did over the last 2 months might be the coolest thing he might ever do. Give $600,000 to a children's hospital here, because that is the clear sign that we have that the man is in it for Oklahoma. So when people want to come at me and say, yo, look, man, you going hard at my man Sam Presti, be like, yep, I am. Because it's your team, it's our team, it's the state's team. That is what we do. We hold our leaders accountable. So prove to us, you're not just a dude. Because from where I'm sitting, Kevin Durant, Russ Westbrook, James Harden should have won you a championship. You couldn't hold on to all of them, and you're claiming that it's because of small market, and then Paul George came here. And now you got all this money on the books that you got to figure out how to move around. That's your job. That is what you are getting paid to do. Do your job well.